Hello, my name is Jim Townsend. This video is being made as a response to Revenue Canada Agency. They asked the question, is Canada affected by an underground economy? My answer to that is yes. The underground economy of the criminal racketeering agency is destroying my country. You can read more about my takes on CRA at my website at townsend.be. That's townsend.be. In order to make this video, I wrote a short script, and I want to read this script as my answer to CRA. Canada under attack. I believe my country is under attack by a foreign nation using a private legal system franchise operating under color and guise of law in our own courts to wage a covert war against Canada. In 1867, the Jewish monarchs of the British Empire utilized their private legal system franchise Bar Mitzvah Association to form a foreign-controlled British corporation called Canada. The British Corporation Canada was given a corporate constitution, the British North America Act, by the UK Parliament, and began hiring employees, hereinafter known as the public. What's been happening in Canada is John Q. Public has been attacking Jim R. Private. The British Crown of Israel Jewish monarchs claim they are the sons of God and have the divine right to rule the rest of the nations. This is the reason that the foreign corporate constitution begins with the preamble recognizing the supremacy of God and the rule of law, and if one goes into the courts in this country, we see the crest of the foreign-controlled crown on the wall declaring Duim Androit. They claim God gives them the right to financially exploit us in our courts. The real deception comes after the part that reads recognizing the supremacy of God, the part that states the rule of lawyers. Herein is the deception. Free men are not ruled, certainly not by a foreign privately owned association of lawyers committing everything from financial crimes to slavery to genocide against us with our own courts. When all final decisions involving disagreements and lawful conduct are settled in court, then all power in a society devolves to the judiciary. Controlling the judiciary allows this foreign criminal enterprise to use our own courts to commit financial crimes, slavery, and genocide against our nation and our people. Recognizing these pretenders is easy. In a lawful court, you are presumed innocent. You know you are in the grip of shyster lawyers if you are assumed guilty and have to prove you are innocent. The British Crown of Israel everywhere uses the same Fabian strategy of force, religion, and legislation to attack a target nation. First, the target nation is attacked and destroyed by force. Next, the people are subjected to mind control and required both to study and to bow down to the religious doctrines of their attackers, who distribute these books for them to read and to believe. Lastly, the courts are constituted under the color and guise of law in order to establish a legislative control, which is slavery, over the target population. See, if your mind can be bent to the other book, it can be bent to this book. Canada was incorporated as a society by the British Crown of Israel. It was falsely laid claim to by the British Empire as part of the Commonwealth. Their God has given them to a Herod. According to their religious doctrine, they are God's chosen people, and all other peoples of the earth are goyim, or soulless cattle, to be bought, sold, slaughtered, and fleeced by their good shepherds. Go to the Old Testament, also known as the Torah, which is a Hebrew word meaning the law. Turn to Deuteronomy chapter 20, read verse 10 to 20. There's a written agenda to destroy the world and enslave the world. Canada, the foreign-owned corporation of the British Crown of Israel, attacks Canada, our nation, through our courts, which are financially maintained by Canada, our nation. When you control the courts, you can wage a silent war of deception against the target population, and they have no lawful recourse. For instance, how convenient it is to commit money crimes. You can have the court declare your useless paper script to be legal tender and use this legal counterfeit to buy up everything in sight. When the phony currency system finally crashes, then you really cash in on seizing all the property you haven't defrauded your victims of with legal phony currency schemes. It is a war against our nations, waged by foreign bankers in our own courts while they remain protected by armies of lawyers. The strategy is always the same: force, religion, legislation, and then divide and conquer. Pit a nation endlessly against opposing interests, let it exhaust itself to hopeless ruin, and then pick up the plunder and spoils. Mahel Shalal Hashbaz. Such has been the state of the world for millennia now. Religious wars tear nation after nation asunder. Bankers reap profits from both sides. Nations are legislated into slavery. Humanity buries its children, its heart, and its dreams. What madness engenders this hell on earth? Madness it is indeed. In law, an entity, no matter how it is constituted, cannot rise above its criminal beginning, regardless of tradition, custom, usage, or precedents, and the letter of the criminally constituted legal system franchise. That is all Canada is and ever will be, a criminal entity attacking Canada, my country. When a child has an imaginary friend, we consider it to be cute and an indication of a growing intellect. But when an adult has an imaginary friend, we recognize by then that they're psychotic and delusional. So what is it when a whole group of adults has the same imaginary friend, they start a religion, and then we have to bow down to the supremacy of their imaginary friend and follow all the legal atrocities that they deem to be laws? Like all Commonwealth corporations, the foreign-owned British Corporation of Canada imposes a phony legislative control under color and guise of law, and then hires our own children to attack us, while at the same time they sacrifice them on the altar of deceit. Keep in mind that lawyers are wordsmiths and they use language to attack our nation. Let us examine their written language. We go to Black's Law Dictionary and we look up the definition of free, not subject to the legal constraint or legislation of another state. A people in a given geographical area. Civil service, employees of the state, government. Elected as representatives of the state to govern the civil service. The Constitution is the body of law written by the state to control the government. Lawful, justice predicated upon what is morally and ethically correct. Legal, the written form of the law. Treason, betraying the government of the state into the hands of a foreign power. Thomas Paine wrote in The Rights of Man that authority is either delegated or assumed. If it is delegated, it is a sacred trust. If it is assumed, then it is a complete usurpation of power. Now look at the definitions and see if you can think of what free men would intend if they elected to set up a government. A government to govern their employees? Or an organization so that they can be subjected to the rule of global bankers? Even Canada's armed forces are controlled by the British Crown of Israel. If you open the Canadian Criminal Code, which is the legal claptrap of this foreign criminal entity, you can see the Canadian Armed Forces defined as Her Majesty's Forces raised by Canada. We Canadians have never had our own armed forces. We are simply expendable goyim, and our children are the target, which is why they are dying in an undeclared and illegal Jew-Arab war in Afghanistan, waged by the British Crown of Israel, who have been the world's largest drug dealer for centuries, in order to control the opium supply that destroys the children of our nation on our streets. Freedom is supposed to be the hallmark of our nation, our birthright, and our reason for being. Generations of our fellow countrymen have spilled their blood for our freedom. We live in one of the most highly legislated societies on the face of the earth, and yet we believe we are free. Note the definition of the state. A state is a people in a given geographical area. We, the people of Canada, are the Canadian state. We are the rightful sovereign people of this nation, and it is our birthright. Slavery is the opposite of being free. We have been losing our freedom in our country one piece of legislation at a time. The foreign corporation that controls our government does nothing more than enact legislation to enrich their treasury. Their foreign-owned corporation called Canada is bankrupt. It is hundreds of billions of dollars in debt and never had the lawful right to strap private Canadian citizens with these debts. We are attacked from within. The income tax of Canada isn't even written by Canada. It is written by a privately owned Belgian corporation called CCH Canadian. They write the American Income Tax Act too. It's just as much a big as atrocity. Currency Clearinghouse is nothing more than a bunch of bankers using the taxation system outlined by the Protocols of Zion to subject our nation to debt peonage, a form of slavery outlawed by the UN Charter of Rights and Freedoms. When all final decisions devolve to the courts, all final decisions devolve to the judiciary. Interesting to note that 6 of 9 Supreme Court justices in Canada are Jewish, as are 50% of the Senate of the corporation called Canada. That's an odd sort of a demigration for a nation of such diverse cultural heritage, where the Jewish population comprises less than 2% of our population, wouldn't you say? It's a good thing these dual passport citizens are loyal Canadians and not racist Israeli agents trying to dismantle our country from within, or we would be really screwed, wouldn't we?